I am an author preparing for yet another freak snowstorm. 3 days ago, I was in shorts outside playing with my puppies, perfectly happy, and now we're about to get 8 inches of snow and 5 inches of snow, but it could also be ice or mixed with ice, so there's a very high potential for us losing power for a day, a few days, who really knows. So I have to be prepared for when that's going to happen. So this is what I typically do. When I know weird weather is coming, I make sure I save all the projects I work on. I write down any notes for where I'm going next, because if there's a gap of days where I can't access my manuscript or my work or the projects that I'm doing, I might forget where I was. So I always leave myself little notes, and I do this like every day anyway, just so the next time I pick it up, I know where I was going with it. But it's especially important when the snow is coming or when bad weather is coming and you're not going to have access to your technology. You also have to be prepared for what you're going to miss. So if I do not have power, I'm not going to have internet, I'm not going to be able to post things. The only way I'm going to be able to do things is through my phone if my data cooperates. Now, thankfully, for the most part, at this point in time, my data has worked really well on my phone, so I'm able to do some things, but not to the extent that I normally would, and it makes it a little bit harder to do so. So I want to make sure that I have all of my social media posts ready, any pieces of information that I'm going to need for people. If I have to email people documents or anything like that, I got to get that done in advance. In fact, I have a couple of contracts that I need to sign, so I have to use today, right before the snow is coming, to read through all these pages of contracts that I have to sign and send back, because otherwise I don't know when I'm going to be able to get those in. So I have to go through contracts, I have to go through any social media, and I need to film anything that I'm going to need to post or edit or design any photos that I'm going to be posting, and I try to get as much scheduled as possible. So if I know I could potentially be without power, I'm going to schedule as much as possible. And if I don't want to schedule something like a TikTok or an Instagram, I'm sending all of that content to my phone, and then I can manually put it up on my data. So I want to make sure I have any files that I'm going to need, but my YouTube videos are going to be scheduled. If I have text posts, those are going to be scheduled. Anything on my YouTube channel is scheduled. I can schedule my Instagram and my TikTok, but I typically like to do those live. So I'll just send all that information to my phone and then be able to post it and push it out through there. But I want to make sure I have everything ready to go. So captions are written so that I can type them on my computer and not have to worry about using my thumbs to type them on my phone. I'm going through all of my emails. I'm making sure if anybody is waiting on something from me, that I am getting that back to them before the storm is going to hit. And I want to make sure I have a schedule. So on my phone and my notes app, I'm going to write down everything that I need to get done over those couple of days so that I don't have to really worry about it or think about it, especially if something goes wrong. So if the ice brings down the trees like it did during the last storm, just completely demolishing my fence where my puppies play, I can focus on the damage. I can focus on what I need to fix. I can focus on whatever. There have been a couple of times where here in the house I'm living in now, we have had power out for prolonged periods of time because where I live now is not really prepared for the cold weather the way that they were up north where I used to live. So I have to make sure that I am completely ready for what is going to befall us. And typically that means some weird problems just because they're not prepared where I'm currently living down in kind of the middle of the country. And so I am looking for anything I need to market, any paperwork I need to get done, anything I need to be sending to people, and anything I'm going to need data-wise on my phone. So video files, clips of videos, if I need to film things with like accurate lighting, because of course I can film on my phone. I can go stand in front of a picture window if it's light enough out, but in the dark, if there's not a lot of light, you're not going to be able to turn on your ring light. So anything I'm going to need to film, I'm getting done now. And I'm planning it out for an extended period of time, a week or 2 weeks. We are not looking at, oh, it'll be out for a day or two. No. We are planning for the long haul in case something happens. Because sometimes, especially I live kind of out in the country, so they don't get to us very quickly. So if something happens, I tend to, my entire life, have always been like the last one handled. So at that point, I need to plan out for a week, for 2 weeks, however long this could potentially be. And because I have planned that out and because I have things scheduled and things ready to go, I then, if I don't lose power or if the power comes back quickly or if there's no damage from the snow, I just have some free time. I've done my work in advance, usually a little bit in a panic because, we got to crunch a lot of stuff in with very little notice. But I've put that work in up front, so then that moves it out of my way. So if I get to a couple of days from now and there's no issues, well, then I've just freed up my time, haven't I? I can do other things. I can go play in the snow with my puppies. I can just have some fun. I also make sure, and this is really important, that my technology is charged up So even if you don't have like internet access, you want to make sure your tablets, your phones, your rolling screens, like anything that you could potentially use is charged up and ready to go. So even if you need it just as like a light source or something, you have that ready to go. You have all your battery chargers ready to go so that you're prepared for if the power goes out. Editing KM, popping in to add a little bit that I didn't get to say while I was recording the main video because somebody was back and waiting to get in the car. When it comes to losing power, you still have the ability to work on your book. What I do not want you to do is to be typing your novel on your technology and draining your batteries. If you are in an emergency situation where you don't have power, we're reserving those batteries. There are more important uses than typing up your novel. I know it gives you time because you can't do anything else, but it's something that is just safety. Safety first. We're not draining our batteries writing a novel. With that in mind, you're also not handwriting your novel. That will hurt your hands, that will hurt your wrists, and it doubles your time. Because if you handwrite things, you have to sit there and transcribe it and figure out what you wrote. It's a waste of time. I want you to get paper, get a pen, get a pencil, whatever you want to write with, and you're going to work on all the other things. So you can plot your book if you haven't, or plot the next book if you haven't. You can think about what you want to do for bonus stories, for bonus scenes. You can flesh out something for the side characters. You can consider prequel novellas. You can go through and do a lot with your book, with your world building, with your character development, write those notes, figure all those things out, do the work here. Because this is not something you have to then type up. It's just there, it's reference, it's going to apply to the books or the stories that you're writing, but it's not something that duplicates your work. You also have the ability to work on your marketing. This is a really good time to script videos, to figure out what you need to create, to figure out what giveaways you're going to do or what events you're going to host. This is the time to really pour into some of the more marketing, tangible sides of things. You can even sit here and plan like the swag you want to do. When your power is out, this is the time for planning. This is the time for ideas and inspiration, not the time for writing your novel. So you're still doing things, you still have that momentum, but you're not damaging your physical hands as much as if you were handwriting an entire novel. You're not wasting your time because you don't have to retype all of those things, but you're moving forward. You're making progress. You're coming up with ideas. You're doing all the things that will help you after the fact, especially because while you are going to be without power, you're also not going to be posting as much or doing as much marketing. So you're just going to come back really strong and not have to worry about it for a while. In fact, if there are things you don't like marketing, this is the time to knock out the next month of your content. You don't have to film it if you don't have access to like a big picture window with light, but you do have to like script it and get it ready. If you can just plan your content for the next month, then all you have to do is real quick create it and put it up when you have power back. So just be smart about how you do this and use your time wisely. Let me know what you do to get ready when you know heavy snow or rain or weird weather is coming so that you have the ability to continue to work and get your stuff done while we are going to be going through potential issues with the weather. And follow along for more. Follow along my Instagram stories where I'll be showing you exactly what I'm doing. We'll see you in the upcoming episode.